Hey everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to Lucid's 2022 Tournament Game 4, where we are playing Nazca. This is turn 48. Let's jump into things, shall we? We've got some incoming trade this turn, 2 death gems from Vanheim. I think this actually wraps up, we might have one more, but I think this wraps up our betrayal trade. the great betrayal. So that should be cool. And then we got more stuff. So, in the same turn, Vanheim has claimed the Throne of Fire. So, thrones claimed, Vanheim, Throne of Fire. This is unfortunate news. Vanheim having any thrones more than what they already have is unfortunate news. If we go ahead and take a look at the Thrones of Pretenders. So, they are halfway to the required thrones. So that is of a concern due to their size, right? And their power. But more of a concern is the fact that it's the Throne of Fire, right? Like if this was the Throne of Death or the Throne of Earth, then kinda whatever. Even Throne of Gaia, kinda whatever. But this being the Throne of Fire is not great for a number of different reasons. One, Vanheim doesn't actually have a lot of really good fire access, and this gives you a Depths of Pyrrha Phlegethon. So that's fire 3s out of the gate that can become very powerful evocation casters later on in the game. Do things like Flames from the Sky, really fucking annoying. So that's unfortunate. We're just not happy about that. That's an extra tool in Vanheim's arsenal. The other fucking issue is the attack skill +3, right? So this is maybe less of an issue compared to if Vanheim were to have gotten the Water Throne, which would be the defense skill +3, which would have made their Vans and Van Jarls and etc. just incredibly difficult to deal with from a hitting them standpoint. But, I mean, attack skill is also challenging to deal with as well, right? Giving certain units more of a repel bonus, and it conflicting directly against us, right? The idea of, oh, Vanheim, you know, it's really cool if we have defense skill +3, but if Vanheim has attack skill +3, it just neutralizes that, right? So, this really kind of sucks. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, there's not really much we can do about it, but and we're not super concerned about it right now, but it is unfortunate, right? Like, that is something that we would rather not happen. But it be what it be. So, moving on. We've got some site searching this turn. Trying to do a whole bunch of remote site searching every single turn. Gnome Lore found some gem deposits. That's interesting. Dark Knowledge found nothing, Harspex found nothing, 2 Auguries found nothing, an Arcane Probing found nothing, and an Auspex found nothing. So, only thing we got this turn, site searching, gem deposits, which are 75 gold per turn, which is pretty nice, right? We're not gonna be unhappy about 75 additional gold per turn. And I think gem deposits count as... No. Never mind, they do not. I think they're just flat gold, and they don't count as mines, which means they don't get affected by riches from beneath, right? So, nice, but not like... I mean, nice, very nice. I'm trying to not like, oh, yeah. No, we're very happy about an additional 75 gold per turn. Great, fantastic. Got some... Actually, we don't really have any battles this turn. We pinged Forgotten Woods with another Apu, so battles for the turn versus Indies. We ping Forgotten Woods, killing off another Apu. This is literally just to continue to increase the amount of Malquis that we have access to. That's it. And then we do get to watch some other battles. So, Ulm moving on Ashdod. This is Big Ulmish Army versus... nothing. So Ashdod is not deigned to actually fight with their PD or anything like that. So this is gonna be... I'm actually surprised that... Okay, I was gonna say. Very surprising for those two giants to not just die to that withering fire. This is a scary army. It's got a lot of support. It's got a lot of mages. It's got plenty of killing power. It's very, very good. And then Ulm also attacked in Blackport. So this is where Pelagia has their throne, and they're defending this. Ulm is moving against it with just a little mastersmith, just pinging kind of what's going on here. Try to see the situation. That guy gets killed. Easy peasy. But reveals, right, what Pelagia has sitting here. Has a Triton King, has some Mystics, got some Pearl Mages, bunch of Wave Warriors, and that's pretty much it. So, pretty interesting stuff. We've got some events this turn. Event in Centania. There's a Sectarian movement, so we have minus Dominion there. And in Thorn Woods, there are a few ice crystals of fantastical proportions that have fallen in the province, so we get some water gems. So events this turn, 1 negative and 1 positive. So in Centania, we have a Sectarian movement for -2 Dominion. And then in Thorn Woods, we get water +9. So cool. Cool. The plus water is that's nice. Happy to have it. Okay, what else we got going on? Construction of the Palisades in Olifa is completed. Cool, fantastic. We got a Malquay, cool, fantastic. Mirror Trend started to starve. We figured that was going to happen, which was a mistake. We shouldn't have moved through there because that's just going to cause things to be less ideal. But let's talk about what is going on for our movements, which we haven't had real movements for a while now, for the last several turns at least. And we'll talk a little bit about some global movements. So, first things first, we are throwing a big batch of Haten Runa at Forgotten Woods. We assume that this is just going to die, right? Like, everything that we throw here is probably going to die, except for these leaders. Perfectly fine. We're expecting all these Haten Runa to die. The goal is for them to try to take out as many of these Deer Tribe as possible, right? And if they can take out some of the Deer Tribe, if Watcher Friendly Fire can take out some of the Deer Tribe, whatever, doesn't matter. We might have to do this a couple of times. We might have mixed success. We might have great success. We might have no success, right? But this is literally just an option for us to toss shit at Forgotten Woods to see if we can weaken it while we work up some other ideas. And I'm working on, we'll talk a little bit more about those ideas in particular. So we've got that going on, and then we are moving a big chunk of our actual army, the Pachacuti army, from Olifa. Now that Olifa has a fortification, we are going to leave some units there to defend it until the actual fortress finishes. But we're now going to start moving out Pachacuti, and we might, I don't know if we're going to do this immediately, but we might head to Satrandith in order to start taking advantage of this ancient master. Alternatively, we might take, depending on how things work out with the Haten Runa, we might take Pachacuti's forces down to Forgotten Woods and toss them at that, which is a possibility. I think could be good. We'll see how that goes. That's really all we have as far as actual movements, aside from really moving around scouts or things like that. The battle between Jotunheim and Vanheim continues. There has really not been any engagement on the side of Ulm that I have been able to see. Jotunheim has had some decent victories here or there, but it's pretty clear that they are slowly but surely losing the war. I say pretty clear, but like Vanheim is doing a good job of not risking large amounts on potentially risky engagements, right? Very low commitment raiding and just dealing with some specific units from Jotunheim without really risking anything to themselves. So they're slowly bleeding Jotunheim out. If Ulm or I were involved in this war, this would actually be very drastic for Vanheim, I think, and they would not be able to be doing the things that they are doing right now. But I made a back alley deal, and I can't get involved. At least not for, like, if I ended right now, I couldn't get involved for 6 turns, so I don't think there's much of a point there. And it looks like Ulm may or may not have a similar deal or something like that, but regardless, even if they don't have a deal, they're not acting on attacking Vanheim. So, hopefully, this will be a thing that happens shortly, right? Like, Ulm will take out Ashdod, and then there won't be a, reason for them not to target Vanheim. That is what I am hoping is going to happen, but I do not know if that is going to be the case. There's also a large-ish Ulmish army heading into Blackport. So Ulm is on the way to try to take that. That is also threatening, just as a heads up, right? So Ulm has 2 thrones already. If they are able to throw off Pelagia in Blackport, that means that they would have 3, and they would be close to 4, 5, 6, right? So very close to the opportunity for a throne rush. By the way, this is the Throne of Fire. Throwing that out there. It's right on the border of our land. It would be great for us to have. If we got +3 defense and +3 attack, that would be really, really cool. But that is not the case. That is not to be currently. Okay, so that's kind of the political situation. That's what's happening around us in the various wars that we are adjacent to. The last 5, 10 turns have been very productive for us. We've gotten a lot of additional free territory, really, and we have been the beneficiary of the ability to try to kind of, like, catch back up. The next... Obviously, so I'm talking about this because this is the end of year 4. The next year, right, like going up to turn 60, is probably going to be much of the same, right? But what triggers whether or not we get, right, it really involved in things is whether or not Pelagia pulls anything, right? Do they come for any of our coast, any of our thrones, etc., etc.? What does Ulm do after finishing off Ashdod, assuming they can finish off Ashdod, right? Like, do they then go on Vanheim like they're supposed to? Is Jotunheim able to defend against Vanheim long enough for the supposed Ulmish assistance and my assistance, which we know isn't actually coming? Those are all, like, the big questions for the next 12 turns, right? And we're also getting kind of like at that point in the game where we got to be careful of throne rushes, right? Vanheim could absolutely hit a couple of throne provinces near them, and all of a sudden the game could be over. Same thing for Ulm, right? Potentially. Pelagia, we've all been kind of like waiting for that to happen, but they have not seemed to have success in that area. So, anyways, moving on. We've got some other mechanical things to discuss. Buildings for the turn. We are putting up a fortress in Olifa, so there's that. And then we have a little bit of recruitment for the turn. So recruitment, we have 2 Malqui priests, 1 Akla, and 5 Sun Guard. So we are recruiting Malquis, or Malqui priests, in Durantine and in Dutrandine, not Durantine, and Omia. So we already have 2 reanimators in Baral. We have 2 reanimators in Nazca. We have 2 reanimators in Dutrandine. We have 1 reanimator in Omia. We're going to get another reanimator in Omia. So we'll have 2 then. We're getting another reanimator in Dutrandine. We're going to send them to Olifa because we don't want to stop recruiting Hydromancers in Olifa, right? But we still want to start generating Long Dead there. We're putting up a palisade in Mark. As soon as we get a palisade up there, right, we're going to want another 2 Malqui priests there, reanimating, and basically the same thing for the foreseeable future, right? So basically what we're doing is we're getting Aklas, spare Aklas, wherever we're like, we will need researchers. So get Aklas as we need them, or research bodies. And then Malqui priests where we need them to generate more siege shaft to generate more long dead. Okay. Nazca recruits for the turn. We did get a Malqui this turn. And we got 29 Hatenruna, much less than we did last turn with the 50. We got 49 Long Dead Warriors this turn and 2 Supaya. I, by the way, have been thinking about this situation. We've got Kusi, this Royal Malqui over here, right, that has been researching for a long time because 26 research for the last 10 turns, 26 research has been a lot of research compared to where we have been. But we're starting to get to that point to where 26 research is just kind of like a drop in the bucket comparatively. But, right, like, it is currently at that point where I think 26 research, if we'd missed 26 research over the course of the last couple turns, we wouldn't be hitting Construction 6 this turn, right? So those are kind of like the choices of why we haven't been doing more Supayas, but we are probably going to swap this Royal Malqui over to Supayas, and we're probably going to start looking for opportunities to get more Royal Malquis in the next couple turns, right? So that's going to be a big plan as well. This particular turn, as far as special recruits go, we don't have any wolves, but we are still getting 1 dire wolf. So, let me jot that down real quick. Why are we not getting any wolves? Specifically, we're not getting any wolves this turn because we needed someone to build the palisade. And either way, it meant not getting wolves, right? So either our werewolf was going to build the palisade, and we wouldn't have that, or our Karaka was going to build the palisade, and we would have to patrol with our werewolf, because we want someone to be patrolling. So, just for shits and giggles, we're patrolling with the werewolf instead of the Karaka. I don't think it really matters either way, but that's the situation. That's literally all it was, oh, which person do we want to patrol with? That's literally it. So, no big deal there. Rituals for the turn. So, boom, rituals for the turn. Most of our rituals are happening in our capital. We have 2 Augury, 1 Gnome Lore, 1 Arcane Probing, 1 Dark Knowledge, 1 Haruspex, and over in Olifa, we have 1 Blood Fecundity happening. So, jot that down. Again, the concept of why no Auspex this turn. Or, no, I guess technically we did have an Auspex last turn. So, why no Auspex this turn? Well, that's because as we're moving towards the idea of trying to have, did I already do this? Hold up, in a moment. Let me double check something. It doesn't fucking look like it. Okay, in a moment. One of the reasons why we are doing 2 auguries instead of an augury auspex, right, is because our fire income is still shit. And I'm really kind of desperate to get our fire income higher sooner. So we are throwing out auguries ASAP, or as quickly as possible, right? To try to hopefully get lucky and get some damn additional fire income. That being stuck at 3 is not great. Super not great. So yeah, that's just the reason why we're doing 2 auguries rather than an auspex. And then the blood fecundity over here in Olifa, we've been talking about that for a while. We dumped 35 blood slaves into that, so it's going to last for 35 turns. Or I guess technically we dumped 45 into it, 10 for the base, 35 for the turns. So that means turn, what is that, 83 will be the end of blood fecundity, but 35 turns of 2 growth should be pretty decent, right, for scaling the population in Olifa. And look, we're just trying to do what we can to kick things up. We're probably going to be doing a trade wind in Olifa next turn as well. So see how that goes. And then we're doing some forging throughout our empire. So forging, we've got one more dwarven hammer, we've got a copper plate, we've got a huaka headdress, and we've got a storm spool, actually. So, what's going on with those particular things? We talked about the dwarven hammers. Again, we're just going to continue probably to produce dwarven hammers every turn for several more turns, probably until we have like 10 or so. Once we get to around that stage, we'll slow down and only produce them as we feel like we need them. Dwarven hammers are, I think, incredibly valuable for stretching your gems over the course of many, many turns and making a return on investment, basically. So I think they're pretty powerful as far as that goes. The huaka headdress kind of turns back to that concept of the Royal Malqui and what are we going to be doing with them. We're going to start, like I said, looking for opportunities to get more Royal Malqui and throwing huaka headdresses on them, even if we're not actually casting spells with them, i.e. the Summon Supayas or Summon Huakas. Just doing Call Supaya on a Royal Malqui with a headdress will increase the amount that you are getting. Even, we should have done this a while ago, you can actually even throw this onto our Prophet Calypso and get one additional Supaya every turn as well, I believe. So I'm just going to do that. We're doing these Huaka headdresses now before we're completely bled dry on fire gems by our Lightless Lantern production. We're probably going to produce 2 of those. We'll see how it goes. And then the copper plate and storm spool are probably, I mean, I say probably, they're set up because we're probably going to use a thug, maybe even our werewolf with some fluffing, right? To do like a smasher kind of like play against the Watchers and the Monolith, right? So putting on something like a copper plate and a storm spool makes you basically immune to the damage that the Watchers can do. And then it's just a matter of surviving the Monolith. So the idea that we have is get rid of all the chaff, right? And that might take a couple of waves of Haten Runa. But get rid of all the chaff. And then run in with like a fluffer and a thug to go in there and smash up the Watchers and then the Monolith, and hopefully things will work out from there. Maybe not. We'll see. I think we're going to run into some issues actually trying to get rid of the chaff. But I would throw an army at that, but we have a chance of our army getting kind of destroyed if things go poorly. And that's pretty much it as far as things going on for this turn. Pretty simple situation, pretty simple turn. Construction 5 or Construction 6 will be done next turn. We'll be running up Conjuration all the way up to 8 is the plan for Well of Misery, for potential royalty, right? Elemental royalty, maybe. We'll see. That could be something that we could go for. And along the way, we'll be picking up things like Summon Supayas and Summon Huakas. And yeah, we'll see how all of that goes. So yeah, I think that's probably going to be it for this turn. Pretty simple, easy peasy. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.